Midday in Mexico City, the air inside the Azteca Stadium was suffocating. At 2,250 meters above sea level, the punishing heat and thin atmosphere drained players' lungs before a single whistle blew. On June 22, 1986, the quarterfinal of the World Cup brought two footballing superpowers onto this pitch, Argentina and England. 4 years earlier, these two nations fought a brief, bloody conflict in the South Atlantic over the Falkland Islands. The resulting military defeat left Argentina humiliated, grieving the loss of hundreds of young soldiers. For the Argentine public, this match provided a path to national vindication. The players in blue and white functioned as surrogates for a population desperate to reclaim its pride on the global stage. The grass of the Azteca had become a geopolitical battleground. The Argentine nation demanded symbolic revenge, and they sent a 25-year-old captain to lead the charge. England approached the game with a rigid, systematic philosophy. Their squad relied on defensive discipline, tight structure, and tall, athletic defenders who dominated physical space. Argentina played a style known as La Nuestra, our way. It was an improvised, fearless approach, born on the dirt pitches or potreros of South America, favoring chaotic creativity and aesthetic dribbling over strict formations. Diego Armando Maradona was the purest, most concentrated distillation of that street philosophy. As captain, he carried the psychological weight of his entire grieving country on his shoulders. This matchup would test whether rigid imperial discipline could suppress chaotic, identity-driven genius. 6 minutes into the second half, an English clearance went horribly wrong. The ball looped high into the air, dropping dangerously toward the edge of the 6-yard box. England's goalkeeper, Peter Shilton, charged off his line. At 6 feet 1 inch, Shilton had an 8-inch advantage over the 5'5" Maradona, who was sprinting to meet the ball. Knowing he would lose a fair aerial duel, Maradona leapt, tucked his head, and extended his clenched left fist, punching the ball into the empty net a fraction of a second before Shilton could reach it. In Argentina, this is known as Viveza Criolla. It is the native cunning and street-smart deception required for the marginalized to survive and outwit a superior entrenched force. The English players swarmed the referee, completely outraged by the undetected handball. But in Buenos Aires, this win-at-all-costs deception was celebrated as an act of divine intervention. 4 minutes later, Maradona received a pass deep in his own half, surrounded by English players. He turned, locked his mental radar onto the English goal, and started running. This diagram shows the physics of a football in flight. Because of the high altitude, the air density in the stadium was 20% lower than at sea level. That drastically reduced the drag force on the ball and dampened the Magnus effect, forcing the ball to travel faster and straighter than normal. To compensate for that unnatural speed and the notoriously uneven, bobbly pitch, Maradona utilized high-frequency micro-touches. He nudged the ball roughly once every second to maintain absolute command over its path. He trapped the ball and executed an explosive pirouette on the edge of the center circle, spinning cleanly away from two converging English midfielders. This skeletal comparison illustrates center of gravity. Maradona's short, stocky frame placed his center of gravity firmly below his navel. When pitted against the upright 6-foot-plus English defenders, he possessed a massive biomechanical advantage. As he shifts left and right at a full sprint, his line of gravity stays safely within his wide base of support. The taller defenders attempt to match his rapid movements, but their higher mass displacement pulls them off balance, leaving them toppling in his wake. Approaching the penalty box, he drops his shoulder in a devastating feint, bypassing Shilton's desperate dive and sliding the ball into the empty net. In just 10.6 seconds, he covered 68 meters and took exactly 11 touches to dismantle 6 opponents. Kinetic mastery had overcome profound physical, structural, and environmental barriers. The stadium erupted. In the broadcast booth, an Argentine commentator broke down in tears, screaming over the microphone, branding Maradona a cosmic kite who had descended from another planet. Even the English side, still furious over the illegal handball just minutes prior, fell into a state of paralyzed, reluctant awe. Manager Bobby Robson later admitted it was a goal you might see in a kid's park, executed flawlessly on the highest stage. These 4 minutes presented a complete dialectic. The deceptive, cheating hand and the miraculous, untouchable feet combined to form an unapologetic portrait of an entire nation. By eliminating the nation that had inflicted the trauma of the Falklands War, Maradona delivered exactly what his country demanded. It was the ultimate, unassailable act of symbolic revenge. Maradona's 1986 campaign culminated in a second World Cup title for Argentina and the tournament's golden ball for himself. His 4-minute display against England set a permanent standard for individual performance, with his second goal eventually voted the greatest in World Cup history. Today, the goal of the century remains history's greatest proof that the chaotic great of the streets, paired with kinetic genius, can defeat the towering might of an empire.